So in this video, I'm going to cover off the basics of Advanced Find for Microsoft Dynamics for Sales. So we're going to cover off how to find the Advanced Find, how to construct a basic query, how to change the data that comes back to match your particular needs when you run that query, and how to save that query for future use. Now, this is first in a series of videos that we're doing on Advanced Find, so you can see below for links to the other videos in the series, or if you've got any suggested content for future videos, or indeed you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, see the links below. So why would you need Advanced Find? The answer is, if you need to get information that's held in a number of different fields, perhaps those fields are on different record types, that's where Advanced Find comes into its own. So let's say you wanted to understand people at companies that are your clients in a particular geographical region who spend perhaps a certain amount of money with you each year or have certain products or services. In order to do that sort of query, you need to search on data held in multiple different fields and potentially different record types. So that's the reason for using Advanced Find. Now, it's a really, really powerful tool, but interestingly, people tend to shy away from it because it, on the surface, looks quite complex. Actually, it's reasonably straightforward, hopefully, as we'll show in this video, but it's really powerful for being able to evaluate, mine your data, particularly if you've got very good data in your CRM system. So that's Advanced Find, why it's important. Let's show how to get to it. So if we go to the system, you can get to Advanced Find from a couple of different places. So on the top bar of your menu here within my system, I've got a funnel icon. If I just rest my mouse on that, you can see it says Advanced Find. Now, if I just click on that, what happens is I get the start of the Advanced Find search dialog. Now, I have to emphasize at this point, this is what I think Microsoft terms now the modern Advanced Find. Advanced Find came into being in this sort of early versions of Microsoft, whatever it was, 20 odd years ago, and was pretty much unchanged for years and years and years. And then a couple of years ago, they changed the interface quite dramatically. Now, some admins, admins can set the system up so it defaults to what they call legacy Advanced Find. So if you click on Advanced Find, you'll see something completely different from what I'm showing on the screen. Now, the chances are you're looking at legacy Advanced Find. We've done some videos on legacy Advanced Find as well, so you can see those below, but if that's your interface, that's probably best place to go and find it. Now, it's also worth saying that the functionality is the same, so it's just the interface is different. So what you could do with the old Advanced Find, you can very much do with the new Advanced Find. But as I say, we've gone into Advanced Find here, and the first thing we see is what Microsoft terms currently a list of tables within the system, but these are different record types, and these by and large, I've done a bit of experimenting with different record types here, but this is largely the out-of-the-box Dynamics. And if I just navigate to contacts or people here, if I want to start my search from people, from person record or contact record, I can just click on that and then press continue. And if I wait a second or two for that to come up, there it goes. Then I get the start of my Advanced Find dialog. Now I'm going to come out of that just to point out that that's not the only place I can get to Advanced Find. So basically, any record type that's available through the side menu on the left here, I can also go to that menu and click, rather confusingly, it's still a filter icon, but here it says actually edit filters, although albeit advanced filters. It is still Advanced Find, so if I just click on this, again, I get straight to that Advanced Find dialog. Now, it's also worth noting that when you search via this interface, it's going to default to your defaulted view. Mine is all contacts and it hasn't got any filters on it. However, yours might. So if I just go to the different views here, these are the system views. If I chose active contacts and now I go to edit filters, you can see it's already got a filter applied to it. And so it's just picking up the filter that exists with that view. So just be aware of that. You can just go to delete all filters. You're not deleting it from the system. You're not causing problems to the system in any way. That's just temporary to allow you to do your search. So if I now click delete all filters, that's going to take me back to my base search. So what we said, now we found Advanced Find, what we said we would construct a really basic query. So I'm going to use a use case here based on the fact I'm using some of the out of the box Dynamics test data. I'm going to have a use case of I'm running a seminar. I'm running my seminar in Seattle, and I want to identify contacts that are in Seattle that I could invite to the seminar. So I want them to be in Seattle. I want them to be active, not inactive records. They haven't left the businesses that they associated with, and I want to make sure they've got an email address. So in order to do that, in order to start that process, I can go to add here, and I can see I've got a little drop down, and it gives me the option of adding a row, adding a group, or adding a related entity. Don't worry about adding a group. Don't worry about adding a related entity. We will cover that in future videos. We're just going to do a very simple one, just adding a row. In other words, we're going to select based on a field within the contact record. Now, once I've done that, it's saying, well, select a field. I've got a field selection. I've got an operator selection. I've got a value selection. So we said we wanted people in Seattle. So I'm going to pick as my first field, and this is listing out all the fields in the system, so all the standard ones that Microsoft provides out of the box, but also any that have been added through the process of setting up the system. So any have been added by your administrator or system implementer. And this is quite a long list, by the way. You can see that just scrolls down, but as it's at the top of the list, I just select that. So we said city. Now we've now got an operator. You can see I've got some options here. These options tend to be different depending on the different field types. It's defaulted to equals, but you can see there's other ones that say begins with or contains data or does not contain data. I'm happy with equals, so we'll leave it at that. And then we said it's going to be Seattle. So that's my first line in the query, but this is going to be a multiple line query. So I'm going to add another row. And this time I want a status. So we wanted contacts that are active, not inactive. And if I start typing in S, you'll see it jumps to the S's in my list. So it's just quick and scrolling all the way down. I select status equals, again, I'm happy with equals, so we'll leave it at that, and I'll select active. And I'm going to add a third line. So I'm going to say, right, email, and I click E, and actually jump straight to the field I wanted in that case. I could have carried on typing email, and that would have got to the field as well. So just come out of that. I don't want equals this time, so I'm going to choose a different one that is contains data. So happy with that. So I've got contacts in Seattle who are active. I've got an email address that contains data. So I can now run my query. So if I go to the apply, I just click on that and apply that, and the query is run. I can see my query is run because it's just displaying that little asterisk, just saying I've got an unsaved view at that point, and I'll talk about saving views in a second. So my query has been successful. However, has it brought back the data that I wanted to bring back? In this case, for me, no. And what I can do to change that is I can go to this button on the top here called Edit Columns. If I click on Edit Columns, it's showing me the columns that are currently displaying, and it's giving me an option of adding a column or columns, as many as I want. In fact, I'm just going to add one, but I could add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I can remove columns as well, but just click on Add Columns. I can search for the columns I wanted to add. In other words, the fields I want to add to this, but I can see the one I want. I want to put the city there as well. So I can select that. I can select more if I want to, but just keep it simple for now. And actually, if I wanted to change where that sits in the list, I can drag and drop it so it sits where I want it to. If I now apply that, you can see that I've now got my contacts from my query, and the city field is displaying in the position I want it to display. So we found Advanced Find, we run a basic query, we got the data back that we wanted. The final thing I said we're going to show is how to save this for future use. To do that, I can see here, I just go to the top with which describes the view I'm in, because I started off at active contacts, and there's a little down arrow. If I select that, I go into this view here, which lists all the views I have access to, which are currently all system views, but it does give me the option to save as a new view. So if I just click on that, and I'm going to get a dialog comes up, I can change the name, but I'm just going to call this test. Let's call it test 1. Give it a description if I want to. I'm not going to for the sake of brevity. So I'm happy with that. I can save that, and you can see that is now saved as test 1. The asterisk is no longer there. It's a save view. And if I go to that down arrow to see my list of views again, I can see all the system ones. You can also see there's one here with, I guess, a little person icon, and that indicates it's a personal view. So I've now created and saved an Advanced Find view. So hopefully that was helpful. As I say, see below if you want to see links to further videos in this Advanced Find series, or if you have any content suggestions, or if you need any help with Dynamics, you can see the links below. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully see you again soon.